Hello and welcome to Local Edition. I'm Leslie Layton. Once again, the state's Legislative Analyst's Office is projecting a multi-billion-dollar budget deficit, projected to be about $13 billion this time. And with us now with a look at this issue and what can be done about it is Senate Republican leader Bob Dutton. Thank you very much for being here.
Well, thank you, Leslie, for inviting me.
What can be done to, bridge this gap between spending and revenue?
Well, what we need to do is continue to get our expenses under control. Right now, California still doesn't really have a revenue problem. What it has is a spending problem. And that's more evident than what the LEO's report also called for, was that in 2012 and 13 budget, we're going to be looking at about a 5% increase in revenues.
So what sorts of reforms need to be made on the spending side and on the revenue side?
Well, I think what we have to take a look at is the duplication that we have within state government. We got too many agencies that are actually duplicating efforts to service the same group of people. And so we need to streamline a little bit better. We need to also create more efficiencies. A lot of the reforms have been suggested in the past. Former Governor Schwarzenegger actually had his CPR, which was the California recovery proposal that he put together. And it called for the consolidation of a lot of agencies and so forth in order to create greater efficiencies and therefore a higher level of service to the people for less cost. Unfortunately, a lot of those reforms have just fallen to the side, and we haven't actually implemented them. Now I think we're going to be forced to do it, and I think Governor Brown's actually in a position to actually follow through on some of those very critical reforms we need to do.
But there is some discussion about, on the spending side, some up to six proposed ballot initiatives that would increase taxes, payroll taxes, also sales tax across the board.
Well, we also, back in March, we had suggested to Governor Brown that we would put in a pension reform. We'd also put in a spending cap, put in additional reforms on the ballot. If you don't do that, I don't believe the people are going to give you any more tax money if you're just going to continue to misspend it the way we've been doing it.
Are you proposing any legislation that would help California businesses grow?
Well, absolutely, and that's going to be the ultimate solution to the problem. In order to get this recession, get out of this recession, we've got to get the small business community healthy again. One of the great abuses that we have is with the Americans with Disability Act and some of the frivolous lawsuits that have been actually filed as a result of some really just minor infractions. I proposed legislation last year that would provide 120 days for a small business to actually remedy the situation before you could actually file a lawsuit. Unfortunately, I couldn't get that out of the first committee, but we will try it again this year, because it's those types of reforms. When I talk to businesses, small and large, the reason they're hesitant to invest in California is because of the threat of litigation. And somehow we've got to make it, not that we want to not punish bad actors or people that aren't bad members or good members of the community for doing some really bad things, but also too, there's an abuse that's taking place, and I don't think somebody should be sued just because the color of the handicap parking stall isn't the right color. It's not blue enough, or the right shade of blue. So.
Okay. What other areas in the state, in the last 30 seconds we have here, what are the important things that need to be focused on this next year, as far as you're concerned?
Creating jobs in the private sector. This is all about jobs. If you don't get jobs, if we don't create an environment where jobs can be created in the private sector, then we're not going to get out of this recession, and we're not going to be able to provide the people of California with the kind of services that we all want to provide them.
All right. And how does the legislature do that?
By putting some little common sense back into play. I'm actually seeing some bipartisan effort in that area. I'm optimistic. I think we're going to see some successes.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank
Bob
you.
Dutton, for being here today. And thank you for tuning in. More HLN next.